Eating real food gets you healthy and feeling energized. Eating in balance gets you toned and lean. So, how do we make sure our food groups are in balance? There are a few different methods. Do you struggle to stay consistent with healthy eating and just want food decisions to be easy, guilt-free, and sustainable? You're in the right place. I'm Chelsea, nutritionist and fitness coach who overcame restrictive yo-yo dieting and body image insecurities using simple nutrition tools, all backed by biblical principles. And now I help women like you find that same freedom with food so you can feel confident in the look and health of your body for decades to come. I'm ready to dive in with you. So open your notes app and let's go. We both know that consistency is the key to getting results, right?
It's true with anything we do over and over again.
Eventually, we get so good at it that it becomes second nature and doesn't feel like hard work anymore. So if we want to be healthy and maybe lose some extra unwanted weight along the way, we have to eat healthfully. We both know that too. It's the consistency part of that which becomes tricky. That's where I come in, because I learned on my own health journey that simply knowing what to do usually isn't enough. I need to know why. Think about any 6-year-old in their "but why" stage. Don't eat processed food. But why? Because it's not healthy. But why? Because it's made with chemicals that aren't good for you. But why? On it goes until we understand. There will continue to be resistance until there is an understanding. I am the one who will help you understand so that you literally see food differently, which makes choosing the healthful thing a million times easier. And before you know it, you are consistent as heck, which means the body you've been wanting will honestly just fall into place. I've experienced it firsthand, and I've helped hundreds of others do just that. No quick fixes, no fad diets. We're talking lasting changes. If you are ready to finally have a plan you can stick with for the long haul, that actually works too, go to coachrain.com/dietfree to book your 1-hour coaching session with me. And I will write the exact plan to get you there based on where you are right now. That's coachreign.com/dietfree, and let's make consistency your middle name. And now, welcome to Nutrition for Christian Women, the absolute best way to lose body fat. You know, for years, I genuinely believed that the way to get the body I desired, which was toned and athletic looking, I liked looking fit with muscle definition, all that jazz. I thought the way to get that body was to be an athlete. And because I never was, I was in all of the performing arts growing up. I was a musician through and through. Sure, I took classical dance, but I certainly do not have a dancer's body genetically. So in my mind, the solution was to spend hours at the gym, pushing the limits of what my body could do. So you can imagine my frustration when I still didn't have the toned body I was chasing, even after 5 years of very consistent gym routines. And I was in my 20s, while my hormones and metabolism were in their prime. I have since learned the key to actually losing that body fat, which is what is necessary in order to see muscle definition. And that's exactly what I'm sharing with you today. Because while I am still a firm believer in the importance of exercise and discovering what your body is capable of, which are important things for longevity, what I don't want is for you to be grinding at the gym and eventually give up because your efforts don't match the outcome. Now, you can probably guess by now that I'm going to say it comes down to your nutrition. That really isn't some groundbreaking secret to most of us, but I want to take it a step further. Because I was eating squeaky clean and still not getting the muscle definition I wanted during those 5 years. The real game changer is getting the right ratios of proteins to carbs to fats with your nutrition. Eating real food gets you healthy and feeling energized. Eating in balance gets you toned and lean. So, how do we make sure our food groups are in balance? There are a few different methods. Probably the most mainstream would be tracking macros. I personally did this for several years, and I'll be the first to tell you that it's effective. It totally works. Tracking macros will help you get lean. And in order to track your macros, you need to know your resting metabolic rate, which is how many calories your body needs in order to keep all of your vital organs functioning. You also need to know how many calories you use if you plan to get out of bed at any point, and also especially if you are exercising. And then, based on your body type, you calculate how many grams of protein, carbs, and fat you need respectively, that total the amount of calories you need in a day based on your goals. And while, like I said, this is absolutely effective, as someone who did this for many years, there are a few drawbacks. First of all, the amount of calories you use in a day varies day by day, especially as a woman whose menstrual cycle dictates different needs literally every day. Secondly, calories burn differently in different bodies. Think of it like putting the same gasoline in a Toyota Camry versus a Ford F-150. The mileage is very different for those two vehicles. So, while we can get a reasonably accurate sense of how many calories you need in a day, there is still quite a margin for error just with the unit of measurement that is calories. The other drawback that was probably the biggest deal for me was how it changed my relationship with food. I no longer ate for enjoyment and fuel, but rather to hit numbers. And then when I didn't hit those numbers, I found myself doing crazy things like pounding a protein shake at 10 o'clock at night, or eating dry salads to avoid the fats and things like olive oil in order to close the gap. Or I would just straight up feel like a failure if I didn't hit my numbers. And another common downside to tracking macros is that it takes time. And because calculating everything can be so complicated, we end up eating the same thing over and over again because we know the exact measurements we need for specific foods, but that usually means we miss out on a lot of nutrients long term. Ultimately, I don't believe the Lord designed food to be so systematic. All over Scripture are stories of celebrations with food, miracles with food, and promises of hope and revival associated with food, which is why, after years of following various diet plans, including tracking macros, I put together all of the knowledge I gained, plus the conviction I've been given about eating the way the Lord intended, and created what is now called the Sustainable Way, my one-on-one nutrition coaching program. It is quite literally designed to take the best of all those diet plans I tried, the parts that actually worked, while eliminating the parts that made it hard to sustain. Hence the name, The Sustainable Way. So if you actually want to lose body fat, see muscle tone, and get lean, this is how we do it in The Sustainable Way. First things first, we implement what I call the diamond meal, which is that balance of proteins to carbs to fats that I was talking about earlier.
Except instead of weighing and measuring everything,
I give you a visual representation that you can adhere to even when you go out to eat, so you don't have to stress about hitting your macros while at a restaurant. That was one of the biggest hangups for me, and it is so liberating to be able to eat out freely. Now, something I find to be an obstacle for a lot of us is actually knowing what foods are considered protein versus carbs versus fats. These are things we never learn in school, but they're just so important. So that is also part of what I teach you along the way, so that you don't go through life thinking peanut butter is a good source of protein, when in reality, it is a fat source, which helps explain why you can't seem to shed the extra fluff. So we achieve that balance through a visual template and make sure that you can confidently assess which group a specific food falls into. But what I think may be the biggest game changer is learning to read your body's signals. like I mentioned earlier, especially as a woman, our caloric needs differ from day to day depending on where we are in our cycle. When we are in tune with our body's hunger and fullness cues, we naturally navigate those fluctuations without having to worry about hitting a specific number of calories or grams of protein, blah, blah, blah. The cool thing about this is that we are all born with these cues. It's part of our God-given design. So once we have food quality in check and we are eating in balance of proteins to carbs to fats, the body doesn't lie. It will let you know very simply if you need more or less. And I love helping people figure that out. It usually feels like a breakthrough moment, and I am so here for it. Now, combining these elements paired with accountability for long enough that it becomes part of your everyday normal routine, now we have a completely sustainable way of eating that actually fuels our body, gives us energy without overeating,
so that we can lose body fat and start seeing muscle.
I know it kind of sounds too good to be true and a little too simple, but that is the beauty of it all. In fact, that is something my clients often talk about, their disbelief in how simple it truly is, and actually laugh at how complicated diet culture has made it. So there you have it, the best way, and really the only way that I have found to truly lose body fat and change your body composition is by balancing the ratios of your protein to carbs to fat intake. And if you could use some help figuring out your perfect balance, along with the accountability you need to make it your forever lifestyle, head over to coachrain.com/dietfree to book your strategy call with me. Imagine having your very own customized, these are your very next steps plan that brings you the confidence you are looking for in just a 1-hour coaching session. That is my guarantee to you, but I can't help unless we connect. Again, that is coachreign.com/dietfree. And let's make sure that your efforts are actually working. I pray this episode was helpful to you, my friend. If so, could you do me a massive favor and take 30 seconds to write a review? This is the best way to bless me big and help more people learn just how simple eating healthy consistently can be. And if you want more value-packed info from me, head to coachrain.com and sign up for the weekly harvest. My weekly emails filled with recipes, how to use food as medicine, biblical nutrition, and more. That's coachreign.com for all the goods. Blessings until next time, sis. Toodles.